Hello. Today we're going to be learning about the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem is used to find a missing side of a right triangle. The formula for the Pythagorean Theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This formula is commonly used to find out a missing side of a triangle, like I said. But how do you know if a triangle is a right triangle? Well, one way to tell is when two points intersect each other at a 90-degree angle. What that means if there are many combinations. So there could be right triangles that are like this that have the long side here, or like this. Both are right triangles because they have at least two sides that intersect at a 90-degree. Same thing can be done in upside down. So it's basically the triangle above it upside down, and so on. And same thing with this one. You could go like this and get a right triangle. So, how do we use the Pythagorean theorem? Well, using this formula, how are we supposed to use the Pythagorean theorem? Well, first we have to discuss the sides, because in the explanation we will be using explanations of the sides to properly understand how it works. So, I have a diagram here of a right triangle, and there are two sides here, and we can tell that these are the two sides that are making up the right triangle, as we can see here. So whenever you see a right triangle and you see two sides that create right triangles, then they are called legs. The other side is exactly opposite to the right triangle, as this arrow signifies here. And this will be the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is just a fancy name for the longest side, because it is obviously the longest side. But you can't just measure it and find it out. You would have to use the Pythagorean theorem to properly find it out. Okay, now that we've discussed the sides and what their names are, let's do an example problem. So let me just sketch out a right triangle here. Okay, so let's say we know what A and B is, okay? So let's say A is 3, B is 4, and we don't know what C is, so we'll just keep it as C. Well, let's plug in the formula. It's A squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared, because 4 is in the position of B, equals C squared. Well, 3 squared is just 3 times 3. And 4 squared is just 4 times 4. Equals C squared. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 plus 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. And C squared equals C squared. Well, we know that 9 plus 16 is 25. Equals C squared. But this is C squared, so how do we get C by itself? Well, to do that, we do something called square root. And what this means is you just have to find two numbers you have to find one number actually that you multiply by itself to get the actual number, which is squares. So, for example, what we did here, 3 times 3, we said we got 9. So the square root of 9 would be 3. So we're trying to do that with 25. Well, we know that 4 times 4 is 16. So let's try 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is in fact 25. So our answer is C. Whoops, let me erase that. C equals 5. Okay, so we're able to solve a Pythagorean theorem problem. What if the side instead of C that's missing, what if it's like A or B? How do we do it then? So let me explain on how to do it when those are the situations. So I've kind of cleared out some space here. Okay, let's draw another triangle. So let's say let's say A is 6 and B is let's go with 10. I mean, it's not, instead I didn't mean B, I meant C because it's the hypotenuse. A, and we have to find B. How are we going to do this? Well, so what we can do is, I'll first erase like some of this so we have a fresh, clean area. Okay, so A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A squared is 6 squared plus B squared. We don't know what that is yet, so we'll just call it B. We'll just keep it as B squared. And C squared. So C is 10, so 10 squared. So 6 times 6 plus B squared equals 10 squared. Oops. Oh wait. And 10 squared is just 1. 10 times 10. So, and 10 times 10 we know is 100. So now we have 100 equals 36 plus B squared. So how do we get B squared by itself? Well, the way we could do that is we could subtract 36 from both sides to make it balanced because when you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other side as well. So, I'll just move up here. So, B squared equals 64 because 100 minus 36 equals 64. So I encourage you to pause the video here and try finding the square root for B squared. Okay, so now let's try finding the square root for B squared. So we have to try finding the square root of 64. And the way we know that 5 times 5 is 25. So we want it a little more than that. So let's try something like 7 times 7. That equals 49. So because we're still a little short, we have to go one number up. So let's try 8. 8 times 8 is actually 64. So we know that B equals 64. B equals 8. Yeah. So, thank you for watching to the end if you got to this point. I hope that you were able to get a good understanding of the Pythagorean theorem. Please let me know in the comments below on how you think this is, and how do you think this went? And if you have any other ideas, you could just send them in the comments to me, and I'll consider on making a video about it. Have a great day!